We're going to do a quick lecture on mongostat here, and mongostat was covered by Dwight as part of M102. We're going to take a bit of a closer look. I was going to look at it in a sharded environment, how that might work. But the first thing that we're going to talk about is why use it. We've just spent the first part of this module going through MMS, the monitoring service that it provides, and the various statistics. We've shown that it reports on op counters. We've shown that it reports on all the various things that you may remember from Dwight's demo of mongostat. So why would you use mongostat in the first place? There is one overarching reason, and that is frequency. MMS monitoring samples at once per minute, which is generally pretty good, checking for most issues. However, if you've got something that occurs at a frequency greater than a minute or doesn't last that long, you would have to be lucky to hit it in MMS. And of course, sometimes you just want to see exactly what's happening at that particular moment for a cluster for a replica set. So frequency is the number one reason why mongostat is used. If mongostat is so good, what are the disadvantages? Why don't people run it? Well, first of all, mongostat has to be run. It's not something that gets sent off into the background like the MMS agent collects data historically and graphs it out nicely for you. This is something that you're going to be running on the command line, viewing the numbers as they come in. So it receives more limited use as a result. So that's that is the major disadvantage. It is basically an on-demand tool. Other disadvantages, well, it can be tough to read and it can be hard to see trends over time. So you can think of MMS as the way you would discover issues that are ongoing, things that have been happening historically, and then you'd use mongostat then to drill down into those issues, determine with better granularity, because it runs with a sample rate of once per second, exactly what's going on. So let's quickly take a look at mongostat. For this, we're going to use the same EC2 cluster that we're using in our MMS section, so there's still some operations running on this on a regular basis. We've logged into the host here that's running the mongos, so let's just find that, show you that that's running. There we have a mongos very quickly set up, running as root, so not your standard best practices here, but it'll serve for a demo. Generally, we wouldn't recommend you to run any MongoDB process as root. But here it is, here it's running, and we should be able to connect to it just to verify it's there. Indeed it is. So here's our mongos running here. We can connect to it with the shell on port 27017. We don't pass any arguments here. It will connect to localhost by default on port 27017 by default. Again, something that I believe Dwight covered in M102. So that's what we've done here. We've just connected to the mongos, run a quick db.version, and we can follow that up with an sh.status. We can see these are our shards, S1 and S2, from the MMS piece of the module. So that's us connected via the Mongo shell, but what we want to actually look at is mongostat. So how do we get the whole thing on one screen? Well, let's first of all have a quick look at the help options for mongostat. And we'll highlight the key one just now. So you'll notice that there is an option called --discover. Discover nodes and display stats for all. And what that'll do is, if we point it at a mongos, it will actually discover the rest of the hosts via the mongos and display stats for all of them and continue to sample them per second, displaying the individual counters. So we're going to do that right now. Again, no need to specify a port or anything here. It's going to connect to localhost, which is where the mongos is running on port 27017, and then discover the rest of the shards, connect to those, get the stats for those. Handily enough, right at the bottom of the help output, you'll notice that there's a little key here. Pri for primary, sec for secondary, rec for recovering, UNK for unknown, SLV for slave, and RTR for Mongo process router. And we're going to see those keys when we're looking at the discover mongostat output. They'll be in the far right, but it lets you know what each one of the processes that you're connecting to and getting stats from actually is. So let's run that.